used to think pain was something you could see, like a broken arm or a bruised cheek. But the worst kind of pain, it doesn't bleed, it doesn't scream. It hides behind a smile and lives in silence. And if you looked at me back then, you wouldn't have known, not even close. My name is Emily. I'm 16. And this isn't a story I ever thought I'd share. But I need to, because someone out there might be sitting in their room right now, feeling like they're sinking, feeling invisible. And if you're listening, I want you to know you're not. People always ask, when did it start? But the truth is, it didn't start with one massive explosion. It was slower than that, like watching cracks form in a wall you thought was strong. One moment I was just a regular girl, singing in the shower, staying up too late texting my friends, believing my biggest problem was finals week. Then everything shifted. I want to take you back with me, to the days before I knew what loss felt like, before I understood what it meant to miss someone who's still alive. I want to show you who I was and who I had to become. But I'll be honest, this story isn't easy. There are parts of it that still hurt, parts I still don't fully understand. But healing, real healing, doesn't come from pretending you're okay. It comes from telling the truth, even when your voice shakes. So if you've ever felt broken, if you've ever wondered if things can get better, please stay. Let me tell you how I found light again, even in the darkest places. What it was like before everything changed. My world was actually pretty normal. I lived in a small town where everyone sort of knew everyone. The kind of place where the biggest drama was who got left out of the group chat, or who forgot to do their part in the school project. My parents were busy, but loving. My mom worked long shifts as a nurse, and my dad ran a repair shop. They weren't perfect. Nobody's parents are. But they tried. They showed up for my piano recitals and cheered the loudest at my volleyball games, even if we lost. I wasn't the most popular girl in school, but I wasn't invisible either. I had friends, real ones, the kind you share inside jokes with, the kind who sneak candy into the movies with you and talk about your crushes like it's the most important thing in the world. We laughed a lot. Life felt light. I remember this one night. It was summer, and we were lying on the roof of my best friend's garage, counting stars and pretending we knew constellations. We talked about our dreams, our futures, where we'd go after high school. We believed in possibility. We believed in forever. That's the version of me I want to remember. The girl who didn't flinch when someone touched her shoulder, who didn't second-guess every word she said, who believed the world was mostly good. I didn't know it then, but I was building memories that would one day become lifelines. When things got dark, and they did, I would come back to these moments, hold on to them like a rope in a storm. They reminded me that I was real, that once I had been happy, and maybe I could be again. It's funny how you don't realize how safe you felt until that safety is ripped away. But that's what happens. Life doesn't ask for permission before it turns you inside out. That before version of me, the version who thought pain had rules and stories always had happy endings, she didn't see it coming. None of us did. But that's the thing about stories like mine. They never start with the pain. They start with the part that gets lost, the part you spend years trying to get back to. And this was mine, the turning point. When it all fell apart. It happened on a Thursday. Isn't that strange, how something that breaks you in half can happen on a completely ordinary day? That morning I remember rushing out the door, mad because I couldn't find my favorite hoodie. My mom yelled at me for leaving dishes in the sink. My dad didn't say goodbye. It was just normal. I didn't know it would be the last normal I'd have for a long time. At school, everything felt off. I had this sinking feeling in my stomach, but I ignored it. People always talk about gut instincts, but when you're 16, you don't really listen to that. I was sitting in history class when the school counselor came to get me. Her face was tight, serious. She didn't say much, just that I had to come with her. The moment I walked into the office and saw my mom's red, swollen eyes, I knew there'd been an accident. My older brother Ryan, he was driving back from his friend's house. It was raining. The roads were slick. A truck ran a red light, hit him from the side. He didn't make it. I couldn't even process it. 1 second I was living in a world where my brother existed, and the next, he didn't. I remember screaming. I remember trying to run out of the office, like somehow if I moved fast enough, I could undo it. I begged my mom to tell me it wasn't true, but it was. Ryan was gone. He was the one who gave me piggyback rides when I was little, the one who helped me sneak cookies before dinner, the one who always made me feel safe. And now he was just a past tense. The days after were a blur. People brought food we didn't eat. They said things like, "He's in a better place, and at least he didn't suffer." I wanted to scream at them. I wanted to say, "No, he's not in a better place. He's supposed to be here." I didn't cry at the funeral. It felt like if I started, I'd never stop. I just stood there, cold and numb, watching my brother's casket get lowered into the ground, like I was in someone else's nightmare. I couldn't understand how the world kept spinning, how people still went to work, laughed, checked their phone. Didn't they know the world had ended? I kept thinking about the fight we had 2 weeks before, something stupid. I can't even remember what, but I hadn't told him I was sorry, and now I'd never get the chance. That guilt, it didn't just sit with me, it lived inside me. Every quiet moment was filled with what ifs and why nots. I stopped listening in class, stopped hanging out with my friends. I went through the motions, but I wasn't really there. I remember sitting on the floor of my room one night, clutching a hoodie that still smelled like his cologne, and thinking, how do I live in a world without Ryan? And the scariest part, I didn't know if I could. People think grief is just sadness, but it's not. It's so much messier than that. It's numbness, anger, shame. It's sitting in class while someone's laughing at a TikTok and wanting to scream because your world is falling apart and nobody notices. After Ryan died, I became a ghost in my own life. I didn't know how to talk to anyone, so I just stopped trying. My friends didn't know what to say, and I couldn't blame them. What do you even say to someone who's lost a piece of themselves? At home, my parents were drowning in their own pain. My dad stopped talking unless it was about bills or groceries. My mom cried behind closed doors and pretended everything was fine when she came out. And me, I kept my headphones in, my head down, and my walls up. I started skipping meals, not on purpose at first. I just didn't feel hungry. Then it became something I could control in a world where everything had fallen apart. It gave me a sense of power. But the truth was, I was disappearing, slowly, quietly. I would sit in my room for hours, staring at nothing, replaying every memory of Ryan I could remember, terrified I'd forget his voice, his laugh, the way he used to toss me his car keys like he was giving me the whole world. I barely spoke in school. My grades dropped. Teachers reached out, but I brushed them off. I didn't want help. I didn't think I deserved it. I hated how people acted like I was strong, like just because I didn't cry in front of them, I must be doing okay. But I wasn't okay. I was breaking in ways no one could see. There were nights I couldn't sleep because the guilt screamed louder than my thoughts. Nights I cried into my pillow, praying to something, anything, to bring him back. And nights where I just felt nothing, complete emptiness. I remember one night, it got really bad. I sat on the bathroom floor for hours, my heart racing, my mind spiraling. I didn't want to die, but I didn't know how to live either. It felt like I was stuck, not alive, not dead, just existing. And even though I didn't tell anyone, even though I wore my mask better than most, I was scared that this would be my forever, that the pain would never lift, that I would always feel like this hollow, broken version of the girl I used to be. People would say, time heals all wounds, like it was some magical thing. But what they didn't tell me is that time only works if you let it, if you give it space, if you ask for help. And back then, I didn't know how to do that. I didn't even know I could. So I kept sinking, quietly, alone, until one day, something changed. The beginning of change. That one person, her name was Miss Carter. She was my English teacher, young, the kind who wore combat boots and vintage cardigans, and always had a cup of tea in her hand. She didn't act like most teachers. She didn't push. She noticed. One day, after class, when everyone else had left, she asked me to stay. I thought I was in trouble, but she didn't lecture me about missed assignments or failing grades. She just looked at me, really looked, and said, "You don't have to carry it alone." I froze. Nobody had said that to me, not once. Not even close. She didn't pry. She just told me that if I ever needed a place to talk, or even just, her door was open, and for some reason, I believed her. A week later, I found myself in her classroom during lunch. I didn't talk much, just sat there, eating pretzels while she graded papers. It wasn't some big breakthrough, but it was the first time in months I felt like I didn't have to pretend. Over time, I told her bits and pieces about Ryan, about the silence at home, about the emptiness. She listened like it mattered, like I mattered. She suggested I talk to the school counselor. I resisted at first. I didn't want to be the sad girl, but eventually, I went, and that changed everything. Therapy wasn't a magic fix. It was awkward. It was hard. I cried in ways I hadn't allowed myself to, but I started to understand that what I was feeling wasn't weakness. It was grief. It was love with nowhere to go. Miss Carter didn't save me. That's not how it works. But she saw me, and in a world that had gone cold and quiet, being seen was the beginning of everything. The climb. It wasn't easy, but it was possible. Healing didn't feel like I thought it would. It wasn't this beautiful rising moment, with music playing in the background. It was slow, messy. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Some days I woke up and actually wanted to eat breakfast. Other days, just getting out of bed felt impossible. But I kept showing up, to therapy, to Miss Carter's classroom, to the parts of life I had once hidden. There were moments I started to laugh again, the real kind, not forced or polite, but the kind that bubbles up and surprises you. And then I'd feel guilty for laughing, like I was betraying Ryan, like being okay meant forgetting him. But I was learning that grief doesn't mean staying broken forever. It means learning to carry the loss in a way that doesn't crush you. It means remembering, without drowning. I started writing. At first, it was just random thoughts, anger, questions, dreams I had about him. But over time, it became something else, a way to speak to him, to speak to myself. And then came a moment. I remember it so clearly, when I looked in the mirror and didn't hate the girl staring back. I didn't fully love her yet, but I didn't flinch. That was huge. I started reconnecting with my friends. Some relationships didn't survive, and that's okay, but a few people stayed, quietly, patiently. They didn't ask me to be who I was before, they just let me be who I was now. That made all the difference. I still had bad days. I still cried unexpectedly. Grief doesn't go away, it just changes shape. But for the first time in a long time, I started to believe something I hadn't dared to before. I might be okay, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday. And that hope, that tiny stubborn spark, it saved me. I'm still Emily. If you met me today, you might not guess everything I've been through. You might see a girl with a shy smile, earbuds in, scribbling poetry in the margins of her notebook. You might think I'm just another 16-year-old trying to survive high school. But there's more to me. I still miss Ryan. Some days, the ache hits like a wave out of nowhere. I still have moments where I wonder what life would be like if that one rainy Thursday had gone differently. But I also have something I didn't before: resilience. I've learned that pain doesn't make you weak. Surviving it, facing it, healing from it, that's strength. And healing isn't about going back to who you were. It's about becoming someone new, someone braver, someone softer. I'm still Emily, but I'm not the same girl I was before. I'm someone who's felt the bottom and found my way back. And if you're in the dark right now, just know, you won't be there forever. There is a way through. Thank you for listening to my story. If it meant something to you, please share it. And don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Your support helps stories like mine reach the people who need them most.